Hi everybody, this is Susan Ushak-Prine and I want to welcome you to our Empowered Moms Hangout. We are a group of moms that are part of the Empowered Network and specifically actually part of a team that's called Team Have It All. And we have kind of found each other within this team because each of us are moms with kind of a unique vision and a mission for ourselves. And I reach out to these other moms and instantaneously they say, yes, let's do a hangout, because one of the really amazing things about being part of the Empower Network is this collaboration and this community that we have. And so everyone was really excited to join me and to create this for you so that we could share on topics that are really important to other moms, especially when it comes to balance. So today we're going to talk about balance and how we have found that within the Empower Network, how we have found balance to work with within our families and with our quote-unquote work life, being part of the Empower Network. And so,
12 months.
Sounds like somebody needs to mute themselves, guys. I just heard something going. Yeah, we're good now. So, where was I? So, we came together to create this, you guys, and talk about balance and how the Empower Network has really helped us find that balance even more so. So each of us has something really interesting to say about that, and it may not be what you think, the typical balance work-family thing is. We have some really interesting things to share with you guys. So we're excited to get started. I'm going to do a quick hello so you guys know who everybody is. Actually, we added our names, so you'll know, obviously, I'm Susan Ushak-Prine. We have Leslie Lane Peabody, who's going to actually speak first, so she could wave. We have Amy Fountain, and then we have Lyria Moore. So us four moms are here to talk to you guys about this really important topic and what we have found for ourselves within this Empower Network. So we're going to just go right ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do, actually, before we start talking about balance, is just to give you a little idea of who each of us are and a little bit about our families, but more importantly, why we kind of were attracted to Empower Network at this time. So we're going to start with Leslie and let her introduce herself. So go ahead, Leslie.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So my name is Leslie Lane Peabody, and I am the single mom of 3 teenage boys. I have 2 17-year-olds and a 14-year-old. And my 17-year-olds aren't twins. About 18 months ago, 20 months ago, I was going through a really messy divorce, and my oldest son came and asked me, hey, Mom, my friend needs a place to live. Can he live with us? His grandmother was too ill to care for him. And I said, sure, come on in, that kind of thing. So that kind of tells you a little bit about my family life and how I want to have my kids as part of my life. And they're teenagers, right? 17 and 15. So the thing that I learned while I was going through that messy divorce is that I wanted some time for me, and I wanted to start growing a business to replace the lost income from the messy divorce, right? So I decided I wanted to be a speaker and an author, and I realized that I needed to blog, but I'm not technically savvy. So I found the Empower Network, and that is going to help me blog and become a better mother and a better author and a better speaker, because it's going to help me market there. So that's a little bit about me. Back to you, Susan.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate you sharing that. The next person we're going to actually have talk to us about herself is Amy. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to Amy. So Amy Fountain.
Thank you, Sue. My name is Amy Fountain, and I have a 16-month-old and a 6-year-old, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Been a stay-at-home mom since my older son was born, and all through that time, with all of the craziness that goes on with life and raising children and having a home and that sort of thing, I definitely needed something. I felt this need for redefinition. And so I was seeking for a really long time, both inwardly and outwardly, for something to do that I could also have income. I could use my creativity, the gifts that I have, and create income at the same time. And it took a long time to really figure that all out. And I want to say it was like after my second son was born and we jumped into unschooling that I really felt the push to do something different and to make this life happen the way that I wanted it to instead of it happening to me. And so I remember my husband was just working so much, and I just said to him one day, I was like, this is just so imbalanced. It's not healthy. I need balance. And it's funny that we're talking about that topic today. So I finally found something in Empower Network. When I came across it, it was like, oh, here's the marketing education, and I have a lot of things that I want to really share and get out in the world, and what better way than to learn how to market online where I'm going to be able to reach the most people that I could reach as possible. So that's been my little bit of journey with Empower Network, becoming an empowered mom.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, well then we will just jump right over to Lyria. So go right ahead, Lyria.
All right. Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you for inviting me on this call. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to share my story. I have 6 children in the house with me, usually all the time, and I started online in 2010. And I started learning how to build websites, you know, and how to get a presence online. And I learned a lot of technical things, but I knew that something was missing. I knew that the mindset that I needed to have to be a business person and to treat my online business as a real business was missing. And I also knew that I needed something more in terms of marketing. I needed to have something that taught me step by step how to do it, because you can see certain things of how people market online, but you don't really get it unless maybe somebody teaches you, you know, hey, this is what I actually did for it to look like that, you know. A lot of times we just use the internet and we're just consumers, we're not actually producers. So I've been learning since then to become a producer, and that is why Empower really fits for me, because one of the 2 main things that they teach us is your mindset first. You cannot really go and build any kind of successful business without having the foundation of a great mindset. And then they also teach you the nuts and bolts of marketing. So I'm in the right place. And mamas, you are in the right place too. So we're going to get into this and you're going to love it. Thanks, Susan.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for sharing on what you did. I have so much connection with each one of you around teens, around unschooling, and around mindset training and marketing. So I'll tell my story real quick. So I loved having a career before I had kids. I really loved working, and then once I had my daughter, who's now 17, I had a really hard time leaving her in daycare. So we found a way for me to stay home with her, and then I got pregnant with twin boys, and so it was like, okay, I'm home now. I'm home with these 3 kids. It was the way it was supposed to be. But I always thought at some point I'd go back to work, because I did want to still, have something for me. So what happened for us is, by my boy's 2nd birthday, they were actually diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So my job really became, helping them, to help them with all of their needs. And so that was a really busy period of time for us, and we learned a lot about ourselves in the process, and my kids have done well from all of that. And yet, here I'm still a stay-at-home mom. My kids are now 15, and 17, and it turns out for the last few years or so, I'd say about 5 years, I have been working part-time for other people, though, and helping them with I have a background in high tech, so I was working with them on website development and social media and all that stuff, and yet still wasn't feeling fulfilled. And it wasn't until this past year where I said, you know what, I need to do something for me, because for so long it's been, my kids' needs, and we've moved several times. My husband's work has had us move, so a lot of it's been around, the family and his career, and moving the family, and even when I had other clients that I was supporting, it was always about their business. And so it wasn't until I said, you know what, I need to do something for me. And it has been so amazing to find the Empower Network, to have that opportunity to do that, because that's what the Empower Network is all about, is being paid to be you, essentially. You learn how to have a business by having your own voice, and it's just been so empowering. And being a mom within this, it's really just a little bit of a unique twist, and that's why we wanted to do this for you guys, and we'll get into it with the balance piece, because you get to still be a mom in whatever capacity. If you're working and you want to do this part-time, or if you want to be home with your kids, or if you're working full-time and want to be home with your kids, this is a way to do that. So there's so many great ways to use the Empower Network as a mom. So we'll share more on that as we talk about the balance piece. So why don't we just jump in and talk about balance. So Leslie, we're going to go back to you and we'll get started on this topic of balance. And what we're also going to do with you guys is each one of us will share on balance and how we found that with the Empower Network. And we'll kind of end with, like, we find it really important to talk about our successes because so much of this growth that we've experienced needs to be celebrated. So we will wrap, each one of us, as we talk about how we found balance, we'll wrap it with talking about the success we have felt personally and experienced personally within this work that we're doing here in the Empower Network. So over to you, Leslie.
Great, thank you. So welcome back. My name again is Leslie Lane Peabody. You can see it on the bottom. And I was the mom of two 17-year-olds and one 15-year-old. And I went through my life, when I started having children, I was a career woman, right? I really wanted the career thing, and I didn't want to stay home with my children. They went to daycare across the street. I nursed at lunch, those kind of things. So I had this great environment. But then I started working at home a little bit. One day a week I would work at home. And when the kids come home, when I'm working at home, they come home, they slam the door, they run up to my office, and they're like, Mom, guess what happened today? Mr. Blah, blah, blah did whatever. And I realized how important that piece of their life was. My 17-year-olds will be gone in a year. Mm-hmm. So if I don't spend my time with them now, I'm going to miss that opportunity. So as I told you a little bit before, I looked into the Empower Network because I knew I needed to blog as part of my coaching business, my being an author, that kind of thing. I was doing that for me. But then, added bonus, I found out that this Empower Network thing can give kids back their parents. Mm-hmm. That was a big thing that in Miami, we have events all the time. You're going to have to learn about that as well because it totally supports all parts of you, right? Your entire body, your entire persona, your entire soul, and your spirit and your head. It supports everything. So when we were in Miami at the end of January, one of the high leaders of the Empower Network, his name is Tony Rush, and he said to us, Empower Network gives kids back their parents, their mommies and their daddies. And my kids are 17, and that just hit my heart. That's what this is doing for me. It's giving me the opportunity to give my kids back their mom before they're out of the house. To me, that's what balance is about. I can balance earning a living as a single mom to 3 teenage boys and paying for food for 3 teenage boys or 6 teenage boys or 10 teenage boys, however many boys happen to be in the house at that time. I'm the house where all the kids hang out. And I can't tell you how special that is. Balance to me is about being able to pay the bills without worrying about it. Being able to be at the hospital with your son when he's getting his wrist operated on and still working. I can blog from the hospital. I can go out to dinner with my mom. I can do all the things I want to do, and I can find those minutes, and they really sometimes are only minutes. I can find those few minutes a day where I can grow my business. It doesn't have to be hours every day. You have to work it, and don't get me wrong, you have to work it hard. But people make a really good living and have a balance with their family. Working moms, single moms, this is for us. We can do this and grow a business that will work. And if you don't want to be a coach, if you don't want to be an author, that's okay, because as part of my business, you'll see that on the Grow Passively part of it, we all need to have an income stream that grows passively so that when I'm in the hospital with my mom and she's getting dialysis, I can be there with her and not feel bad and know that my bills will get paid. So Empower Network allowed me to create a passive income stream in addition to my active income stream where I'm writing or I'm speaking or I'm coaching, actively doing that. You can do work now that will pay off later through the passive income stream, through blogging and having the Empower Network there on your blogs. So that talks a little bit about my balance. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about, and we'll all talk a little bit about this as well, is in terms of successes and what has happened to me. I've been moderately successful. I'm a very successful person in my business life, right? And I'm trying to bring that over into my Empower Network life, into my blogging life. And it takes a little while for some people. Some people make tons of money right away. Some people it takes a little bit longer because we have no internet marketing experience, right? I've been an accountant all my life. I know how to run numbers any which way you can, but I didn't have Facebook before I really started this. I didn't have any of those social media skills. I didn't know how to use iMovie. I didn't know all those other things. That's all okay. You can be here and you can grow with us. And if you want to find out how much people that really make an income can make in Empower Network, and this will be valid for all of us, all right? I'm going to do the income disclosure here for you guys, and it's empowernetwork.com/income.php. And you can see what everyone in the Empower Network is making, because those who don't work don't make any money, and those crazy people who put in a couple hours a week or a couple hours a day, they can make some phenomenal income. So I encourage you to join us and find your own successes. They can be whatever you want it to be, and you'll learn about more of our successes as we go along today. Back to you, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. That was really wonderful. Thank you. I'm so glad you touched on the income disclaimer. That's a really important piece here. And I encourage everybody to definitely take a look at that. It's important to do that. So I'm not going to waste time talking. I'm going to switch over to Amy and let her do her part on balance. So it's yours, Amy. Amy, can you hear me? You're on mute, and your picture's not coming up. Can you hear us? All right, I'm going to give you a minute to see if you can figure that out, and we'll go ahead to Lyria. So, Lyria, you're also on mute.
Yeah, I just
unmuted. Oh, there you are. Cool.
I wanted to make sure everybody, can talk and without, anything in the background. As I said before, I have 6 children, so there might be a little, here or there, but hopefully we can just get through this, That's part of my balance, actually. I'm a homeschool mom, and everybody's always around me all the time. And so that's wonderful. And then when I'm working, I'm learning how to fit that in. I'm learning where to do that. And actually, for my household, it's kind of perfect because I still have, I have middle school children all the way down to baby. So I'm, still in that nurturing and needing to be hands-on a lot stage. So this is what I've been able to do is like Leslie was talking about, just the part-time is really cool because I can do my hands-on with the children early in the morning. This is kind of like our homeschool and work schedule. I do the, hands-on with the younger kids. The older kids are old enough that they can do their independent work. And then I can do some this time, which is like around the afternoon, the baby can go down to sleep and, it's a little bit more quiet and I can get my own work done. And then also later on, the older kids end up helping out. That's how we have it set up anyway. They help out the younger ones. So like learning how to read, The younger ones, I usually do, the nuts and bolts of learning how to read, but then actually being read to, The older ones step in and do that, and they love doing that. They find these, fun books or whatever they want, and then that helps out while I'm also, able to do my thing. So that's one way that we work out balance. There's another balance that I wanted to touch on that is extremely important, which is between me and my husband, because that is what our whole home is built. That's what our family is built on my relationship with my husband. And I really didn't want to jump into something and then have it be lopsided, where it's just me doing it, and he's just like, oh, what is that, and so I wanted to, bring him into it, but I didn't know how. I didn't want to market to my husband. I didn't want to do that, and and I didn't think that was necessary. But I also didn't know exactly how to do it. It happened by surprise. It happened kind of automatically. Me being on calls like this. Like you mamas are, listening to us, I just started listening to the calls and having it on. and having the sound on, not having the headphones on, just having the sound on. A few times he heard this, he heard that, I'll be on calls myself, and he'll hear me, on my conversation. And recently, I know Leslie was talking about going to the conference. I went to the conference recently, and I made sure that I was there. And that was one thing that I think really impressed my husband, because he saw me really having a passion for something, and going after it and getting it, and making sure that I had all of the 6 children all taken care of, so that he wasn't all on his shoulders, So, and I think that really spoke to him, and and he tried so much to help me too. So that that was just encouraging to my heart. But that's another balance that I'm seeing is coming out of this, and I didn't really know how to make it happen. So I guess there isn't really, you know, a formula that you moms can use, but just be genuine with it. You know, I was just sitting listening to, you know, a hangout, just like we're doing right now, as I said before, on a call. You know, your husband is there, you know, and it's just, I wasn't really speaking to him about it all the time. Sometimes he asks questions, you know, and I was able to, you know enough to answer. So I guess you should know what you're doing, you know, kind of like what they say, know your product, you know. You have to know exactly what it is that you're doing and what you're willing to accomplish, what you want to accomplish out of it. You have to have your plan laid out, you know. You have to be focused, really. And once you can do that for yourself, it's easy to share it with others, you know, with your husband even. And so he might not have been, you know, on board or, you know, very, you know, my cheerleader or something at the beginning, but now he's getting it. He's seeing what can happen, and he's wanting to hear more about testimonies, and he's, you know, becoming more a part of my successes, and we'll get into the successes. But yeah, he's seeing it. Another thing that really will get husbands, probably the main thing, is results. So mamas, I will encourage you to focus, do whatever you need to do, cut out whatever you need to cut out. Just get your plan intact, state your goals, speak them out, write them down, repeat them over and over again, and make sure you hit your goals. Make sure you show yourself results, you know. You show yourself that you can do it. That'll increase your confidence so much, you know. And then also, you know, your husband is watching. Just like everybody else out there on the internet. They're watching you because we are learning how to market ourselves, and they're watching what we do. So yeah, that's a little bit of balance in my world. So thank you, Susan, for letting me share that.
Thank you, Lyria. That was wonderful, and I'm really glad you added that piece around your husband, and also both of you touched on the importance of events, because they are really amazing. And that's, I mean, I got to meet Lyria and Leslie recently in Miami for the first time because we were at this event, and you make these kind of connections, and they are long-lasting, because then you start to collaborate on your businesses, and everything just keeps getting better and better. So it looks like we have Amy back, so let me click over at her so she could share on balance as well. Let's try that.
Sure, okay.
Hey, Amy.
Hey, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so for me, gosh, you guys hit on so many pieces as far as balance goes.
Hey,
There's my little Jack. Can I say hi, Jack?
Hi.
And, you know, just like Leslie was saying, you know, I'm really glad she touched on that part of where she was talking about how, you know, sometimes results don't really happen right away for people. Everybody has their own time frame that things happen. And results, actually, successes, I feel like, work really differently as well. And for me, balance was something I was needing in my life for sure. You know, the desire to actually be able to speak my voice and have something to say and have it be heard was really important and necessary in my life as a mom. You know, because it's like I love being a mom, but when I wasn't doing enough to feed myself, then I really felt like I just was out of balance from it, because I wasn't able to function smoothly. You know, I kind of felt like I was being tossed around in my life, and rather than being kind of the captain of my boat. And so when I came across Empower Network, it was like, oh, here's an ability to still personally grow, which is something that I absolutely love. That's something that drew me into it, because it had this whole little nutshell wrapped around business and money, which is a huge issue that I had. You know, it was like that elephant in the room that I wasn't dealing with, that I had these things about money that I wasn't able to attract it, I wasn't able to have it. You know, it's like I had these mindset issues that I needed to deal with, and I've really been able to break through a lot of those limiting beliefs and actually programming that so much of society and what we grow up with puts upon us, with good intention, of course. But, you know, my adventures with unschooling has really gotten me into this mindset and understanding how we can live a free life. And when you're living a life that you choose, you're able to organize it as you want. And that's what it's given me the drive for, because it's like I have this business now that I'm responsible for, and it feeds me and I feed it, and it gives me the ability to really carve out my time better. Whereas before I was just kind of loosey-goosey all over the place, spontaneous with everything. So that's really awesome. And then just the ability to continue to personally grow and recognize how important that is for every aspect of your life. You know, to work on yourself 100%, but also to give back and serve others 100% has been a really wonderful balance that I've been working on. And you know, I'm not there yet, but I don't think we all ever are there. You know, I think we're always seeking to improve upon and be the best ourselves that we can be. And the thing that's so exciting about Empower Network is that it's, you know, it's got this system, but really it allows each and every individual person to share their gifts. And that's my biggest goal in life, is to not only be able to be my authentic self and share those gifts. Excuse me a second. It's my baby getting ready for me, if you can hear him yelling. And also for everybody else to share that authentic self, you know, because when I was living kind of mainstream, I was following the mainstream, and that's how I was living my life. Whereas when you're empowered to live your own life, and you recognize that that is the greatest gift that you can give to the world. So, yeah, I mean, balance has been a huge part that I was seeking, and I'm really feeling, I can tell by the success in not only how I feel every day and how I am able to function, but also just in my relationships. You know, as Lyria touched on with my husband, it's like, when I actually kind of stepped into my power and was like, you know what, this is what I want and this is what I'm doing, he looked at me and he said, who are you? And he goes, I like it. So it's really amazing, you know, to step into your power and to be able to do that and be loved for it, you know, and not feel ashamed, whereas that's kind of what I think sometimes society puts on us, you know. That's why we talk to ourselves negatively the way that we do. So not doing that anymore, and it feels really good.
Awesome.
They're letting me share in too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow, you guys like touched on so many wonderful things. I'm kind of all like, whoa, what am I going to share on? So I'm just gonna speak from the heart. I have to laugh because Amy, when you talked about when your husband was like, wow, who are you? My husband said to me recently, which was like, whoa, like my newfound just like outlook in life, you know, I'm just so empowered by what we're doing here, especially coming off that Miami event. There's just such a like newfound, I don't know, like confidence and motivation within me to like really, you know, speak my truth and speak my vision. And he said to me the other day, he's like, I think he actually texted it to me. He didn't even say it out loud. But regardless, he said, you know, that it's really sexy, you know. And I laughed because, you know, what a great compliment, you know, and because it is, it's attractive, and that's what he meant by it. It's so attractive to see your spouse like feeling that juicy and that good about everything going on in their life. So that's what it's been feeling like for you guys, for me, you guys, and that I'll speak to that balance with like the husband and wife piece, because for so long, you know, I was at home with kids, and he was the income provider, really, and you know, we went through a lot. You know, I already mentioned with my kids, but then, you know, he has a corporate job and went through a series of layoffs. So we had all these kind of financial stuff happen that we had to overcome, and I watched him really struggle with that, and I really wanted to step up and be a contributor, you know, and so finding that, like bringing back that piece of me that I left behind when I stopped having that career and finding it again has happened because of Empower Network. And it's not the tool set. I mean, it's phenomenal, the tool set, but it's the mindset training, you know, to really draw that back out in you and to be surrounded by people like these women who you see what they're sharing. I mean, you see what the kind of experiences that we're having. You can't help but not become sexier. You know, you really can't, because it's just so attractive. It just makes you so much more. You're filled with light, and people, you know, will comment to that. And actually, when I first started with Empower Network, interestingly, each of my teenage kids said to me they noticed a huge difference. You know, like, wow, Mom, you just seem so much, you know, happier and so much more fulfilled. And, you know, nothing speaks to you more than when your kids can see that piece of you. And so I've gotten such amazing feedback from my kids, and they told you about my husband. And so I'm feeling like there is more of a balance in my family, because Mom's got a part now too. You know, I'm not just like, I think Amy mentioned, just like, you know, doing what's required every day and just feeling like I'm being led around by everyone else's schedules. No, I have a piece now too. And there's nothing more empowering than being able to actually, like, say no to one of your kids because something you have to do needs to happen first. You know, it's really empowering, because it's growth for your child too, to understand that they just need to wait, or they, you know, they can do it themselves or whatever. And so as a family unit, we're definitely finding a new balance, you know, and everybody has a voice now, and I'm just loving it. It's been a huge shift for my family. Oh, and I wanted to just mention, my tagline is "Believe anything is possible," and I've coined myself a possibilitarian forever, because I believe anything is possible. And so you know, I've had so many different interesting successes happen within the Empower Network, but the one thing that really is one of my pieces of my vision that's really important to me is to show people that anything is possible. So despite your circumstances, despite whatever, this can work for you. You know, it's not, it really can, and that anything is possible. And I really, especially with the feedback I'm getting from my kids, I want them to see their mom in this light, and I want them to see there's a new way or a different way that it can be possible to bring in an income stream and to have a balance in a family life. And it doesn't have to look traditional. You know, they are back in public school now. We did homeschool for a while as well, and we have very open kind of communication in my house, and so there's a lot of questioning all the time about things. And so I know they're questioning this kind of traditional route that's very much, you know, dictated in a public school system. And we live in Northern Virginia, so it's highly competitive, and it's just fast-paced, high stress. And so my kids are questioning that. And so I think for me, and I think Leslie touched on this too, being showing our kids at this age especially that there are other ways to have a life. You know, it doesn't have to be that 9 to 5. And again, if that's what they desire, I fully support them. But there are other ways. There are other possibilities to create your life, you know, and define your life on your own terms and feel empowered to do that. And wow, to actually encourage and inspire other people to do it at the same time. Wow, wow, wow. And that's what we hope to have done from this work, this hangout here today, guys, because I think we've all shared on some really unique experiences and you know, what we have kind of on our plates with our families and our desires and our visions and how we're having successes with the Empower Network. Unless somebody else has a burning desire to add something that they missed, I will kind of wrap with some final comments. Does anybody have anything? If you could wave to me, I'll click on you. You're all good? We're all good? Yeah? Okay. All right, everyone's feeling good about this. Then that's awesome. So what I'm going to encourage you guys to do watching us is we would love to have you come and join us here in the Empower Network, of course. You get to be part of this Empower Network community, which is this tremendous community. There's live events. There's tons of education. There's mindset training, marketing training, any kind of training you can need, and from leaders that have, you know, proven success in the industry and top leaders in the industry. And you also get to be part of this Team Have It All that we're all part of, which gives even extra support and extra training. So you're definitely invited into a community, and that, you know, you get to experience so many layers of support within this, and we do support and collaborate with one another all the time like we are right now. So whomever invited you onto this will have this video on a page which will have a join link. So go ahead and select that and get started. It's actually $25 a month to get started blogging. And it's a really inexpensive way to jump in, dive in, get a feel for this, be welcomed by this community, and really start to find your way through it and grow through the experience. And the other thing that we're going to also offer, I'm sure, on our pages is some additional information. So there'll be additional information about the Empower Network as well as this Team Have It All that we're on, because there's a really cool vision statement that they offered recently, which I think will inspire some of you as well. So that is it. I think we're going to say goodbye for now. We hope you enjoy, and we would absolutely love comments back from you guys as well. If you gain something from this, let us know. We would absolutely, absolutely love to know that. We'd love to create more of these as well, so encourage us by giving us some comments, and if there's any topics that you're interested in hearing from and how we've addressed those with being part of Empower Network, we're happy to adjust those, so just let us know. All right? So that's it. I think we're going to sign off now. Everybody just want to say goodbye?
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This was great.
Awesome. All right, guys. I'm going to sign off then. Bye.
Bye.